All right, guys. Today's podcast number 10. We're super excited. Today's Friday, September 3rd. It's Maddie B and good old H double here. And we have one more person. It's our special guest. Her name is Ella Lippelman. So she's a friend from back home in Springfield for me and Charles. And right now she's going to, I believe, Colorado College, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Correct.
Colorado College. She's been playing basketball. She's an incoming freshman. And so we decided, since it's kind of a 10th, not a 10th anniversary, but just a 10th episode, to have something fun and something new for you guys. And so Charles and I are going to go back and forth asking questions to Ella, and hopefully have a good time, have some good insights. Charles, anything before we start?
It feels good to have a guest, because I feel like a lot of the podcasts that you and I like to watch have like guests for most of their episodes, and it always looks fun to talk with other people. I mean, I still love talking with you, but like having a third person as well it's nice, like it's gonna be fun, and especially talking to a college athlete, which
I mean, it's Ella's face probably nicer to look at than mine, so I mean that's probably true. So
whatever
so
you
on
say,
that note,
whatever you say.
On that note, so Ella, so what we want to know first, since most of our viewers kind of don't really know you, like Charles and I know you because we've grown up with you. Just give us a
Right.
little bit of rundown on yourself, kind of what you're into, what you're trying to study, where you're from, kind of a little background on you, and then we'll get more into the nitty gritty questions. So the floor's yours.
Okay. Well, hello. My name is Ella Lippelman, like Matt and Charles said. I grew up with both of them in Springfield, Missouri. Okay. Yeah, they're my brother was in their class, really good friends with them. We all have a shared passion of athletics and sports. I would say I am a first year here at Colorado College. It's a small liberal arts D3 school in Colorado Springs. And yeah, I'm on the women's basketball team here, freshman. It's been pretty exciting so far. I think I think right now I'm just like really looking forward to continuing classes. So far it's been going on for like a week. I've literally been in class for a week so far, and I only take one class at a time. So that is also super interesting. Also kind of influenced my decision of coming here. But yeah, it's been super fun looking into studying physics, maybe philosophy, stuff like that. I'll probably end up changing my mind, obviously, like any other college student. Um, but yeah, that is a little bit about me.
A little bit about
Okay.
me is no, I'm just kidding. All right.
Charles, you're not important, man. You're
Yeah,
an
I know.
athlete,
They already
so
know
come
who,
on.
they know who I am.
So, going off of that, Ella, actually, since you kind of brought up yourself about your decision to come to Colorado College, just give us a little bit about your recruitment process. I know for me, I do talk with your dad a little bit about who was kind of recruiting you and things like that, but kind of give us like the schools that were looking into you and kind of why you decided to go the D3 route. I know most of us know most about D1, right? Like a Kansas or North Carolina or whatever, right? But not a
Right.
lot of us know about D3. So kind of give us that like decision process or all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
if you want to.
Yeah, I think in my personal, like probably biased opinion that I think D3 schools are definitely kind of like a hidden gem in a sense. I think you get and especially from being here, I realized like you get a lot of the same things and maybe even more that a lot of D1 schools have. But yeah, with my recruitment, I think I knew growing up I wanted to play a sport in college, like specifically basketball. I wasn't really athletically inclined in any other sports. So I was like, basketball is the way to go. And I did love it. It was something that yeah, I've done since I was like in second grade. But yeah, I think like my freshman year I started doing like AAU tournaments and things like that. So we would go to really big tournaments like outside of Missouri. In Missouri, you don't really have like a lot of competitive tournaments. So I went to places like Louisville and Chicago and like Atlanta and places like that, where there were these super mega tournaments with over thousands of teams and coaches. And yeah, they basically kind of give you like a evaluation. And once they kind of give like that evaluation, those are kind of like the schools that kind of start to recruit you. And your evaluation is kind of almost like, I mean, when you fill out like the NCAA like stuff online, like you have to say like, what's your grade point average? Like what's like all these other things. And so like those things definitely, I think, play an effect. And CC, Colorado College, is one of the top 25 liberal arts schools in the country. So it is a very, you know, academically good school, I would say. And I was also recruited by a couple of Ivy Leagues as well. And I think how I got on that route was, you know, I'm only like 5'5". So, and I am like a point guard, kind of shooting guard. So for my height, it is kind of hard to play at the D1 level. I know there is a lot of people that can do that and that have proven that they do well at that level. But for me, it just wasn't something that really wasn't super realistic. And I think another thing in my recruitment, once I was finding out, is that I don't think I really wanted to necessarily stay in Missouri. And in Missouri, there is a lot of good D2 NAIA schools. I mean, obviously there's like the D1s like Missouri State, but those were like way far out of my reach. And I think I kind of wanted to steer away from Missouri just because like I wanted to see a new place. So I would like get some of those like schools like I don't even know, like I had schools in like Oklahoma and like Arkansas, I think, were showing interest at the D2 level, but those didn't necessarily match up to my like, I guess, like academic pursuits. So I think that's kind of why I decided not to really stay close, was because I wanted to be in an institution far away from home. And also that could have given me some more academically better options. But sorry, I'm really talking in like a bunch of circles and I don't know how to like say anything.
No, you're good.
Thoughts. But yeah, so when I was obviously at these tournaments and things like that, those kind of schools reach out to me, like, you know, the D2s from locally. And then I think once I put in that information about, you know, what my grade point average was, where like I went to a private school. So like, I think that also kind of had some influence with it. They kind of look at like everything. And so I think that helps me start to get some interest from schools like Johns Hopkins or schools like CC or schools like Amherst, Kenyon, just really good, you know, academic schools. I also had interest from Columbia at one point. And I had some things with Harvard a little bit. But yeah, so I started to get all of those things like my sophomore year, and then roll around my sophomore year, I go to a Harvard camp because I think it was probably almost one of like, I think it was sent to me, but like in the same sense too, like, okay, like I don't think they would have just sent it to me like if I wasn't like academically like fit to be there. Like I don't think they would have wasted their time wanting people.
Hey, Matt.
Go eat together, you'll, you know, play on the same teams, you know, that kind of thing.
So, well, I mean, I'm not sure, Matt, I didn't want to say anything, but we think you cut out for like 10 seconds and Matt and I were just sitting there quietly. At least on my end, it cut out. So I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not sure. So, but
okay.
No,
wait, what was the last thing? What was the last thing you heard?
Oh, what was it? It was, you said, oh, it was about Harvard. And you said, I went to Harvard camp, and because they wouldn't probably have offered me to go to camp if I wasn't academically inclined. And then it was, we saw a bunch of Colorado skyline, which is great, but we'd love to hear your voice. So it was basically the Harvard academic, and then I think you're about to go into explaining that camp and kind of some of that kind of stuff, I think.
Yes. Okay.
And you're good, by the way. Don't worry about you cutting out. That's
don't worry, because trust me, it's always been my fault. So I'm super glad that it's like not me this time. And so now when people listen, it's like, oh, we can joke about someone else instead of me. So usually it's been me now. So this is perfect. I love it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. So yeah. So got a letter from Harvard after like a tournament that I did my sophomore year. Went out to Harvard. And I don't think like I would have gotten a letter necessarily if they didn't think I was like academically fit to be there. So I guess that you know, like when you do put like the information down of like your GPA and stuff, like that really does help and it really does matter. And like, I don't know, I just didn't really think that Harvard would be like they would be interested in me, but I guess I just kind of like underestimated myself in that sense. But yeah, but so like I went out to Harvard and so they split you up into teams like at any team camp like sorry, the bell's just
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm so sorry. Okay, so yeah, at Harvard, when you go to team camps or whatever, they'll typically split you up into teams. And you know, you do the workouts with that team the whole time. You do the scrimmages with that team. You'll scrimmage other teams on the camp. It's just like a random, it's not like necessarily picked, it's just really randomized. And typically it is by age group. I want to say sometimes it can, depending on how big the school is, it can be mixed within grades. But it's like pretty much freshmen through juniors. And so I had spent time with my one team the whole time, played against a bunch of other people. But the cool thing about it was that at Harvard, they obviously where they're located in Cambridge, they have a lot of like other surrounding schools. So what they did is they brought in other schools to come and watch. And then those schools, and you have like a jersey that you wear with your number, and then your number's in a program for those schools. So it's almost like you're doing like another tournament, but you're just at like a college camp. So like not only is like the Harvard coaches looking at you, you also have like Tufts looking at you, Hopkins, again, like schools that were showing up. And so I played at this Harvard camp and they were kind of interested in me, like kind of not, but then that also kind of brought Columbia into the picture. It brought Emory into the picture. And also brought Johns Hopkins into the picture. And so I started getting just like the typical emails and stuff from them saying like, fill out this questionnaire. Like it's a lot of the normal experiences for kids going through recruitment for women's basketball. And so I started filling these things out. And then the following year, going into my junior year, I went to a Johns Hopkins camp. Before, you know, I was still playing tournaments and everything, but I went to that camp. And they did the same thing there as well. They had other schools there too, but those coaches weren't necessarily, I mean, they were watching, but they were also coaching you as well. So like they were the coaches of the teams. And so there was like Case Western was there, Haverford, like these other small D3 schools, because Johns Hopkins is it's a small like D3 school too for basketball. So I went out there, played, and I met more coaches, met more people, got on more interest of more schools. And so that led me into meeting Haverford, which is another small D3 school, very academically good again. I think it's around, I want to say it's around Philadelphia. I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, so that's where that school's at. After that one, so like you kind of just go through this process of like once you play in a tournament or once you play you know, at some school's camp where other schools are present, you're going to start to get more invited to like other schools events, because you have like, I mean, at the D3 level, you just have like the things that they're looking for. So if you match up to that, like they're going to invite you, I guess. So I was invited to this other camp that was just like a day long. I was in Chicago right after this big Chicago tournament that happens every year, hosted by Nike. And so I went out there solely for the purpose of Johns Hopkins and Haverford. Again, they had a lot of other schools there. It was kind of just called like a academic basketball camp. Basically, all these schools were just coming out and looking at players. And I that is where I met Colorado College. That's where I found out about it. I honestly like never knew about the school. to be honest, like when I heard Colorado, I was thinking like Boulder, or like, are we talking about like Fort Collins, like Colorado State? Like, what is this? But
Mhm.
no, it was like CC, like Colorado College. And that's where I met them. Um, and that's how that whole process got started. And then once I started talking to CC, a lot of similar schools started reaching out again. I think it's just like this never ending process of, if a coach likes you, they'll also let like other coaches know kind of that they like you. Or they'll, I don't know, I think they just like to share information. But yeah, that's kind of how I got on the radar of a lot of these schools, was just attending camps and then attending more camps. And then I guess I just kind of fit the needs of a lot of different schools. Um, and then I don't know, I guess I could talk about like, I'm sorry, that seems like such a ramble. I can like condense that down if that needs to be a little bit more like understandable, because I know you guys will probably cut it up, but like still, I don't really think it's like that understandable right now.
I just
Oh,
want you to
no, that's
know we
good.
don't cut any of this out. This is all
Yeah,
straight going
it's
in.
just straight.
No
Yeah,
editing.
straight podcast. Yeah, no,
Isn't it
but you're good
actually?
though.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah, no, yeah, it's
Oh,
good. No, 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 you're good. So
okay.
basically, what I'm getting at is, and I love, to me, I think Charles and I both agree, we like the story aspect, because like we talk about a lot of sporting topics, but we don't really have a lot of stories to go with some of them. But like that's a good story saying, here's where I came from, here's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that you go for one coach or one college, right? Like Harvard, and next thing you know, you're not in like the East Coast, you're now out West Coast in Colorado, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that's super cool. And you definitely alluded to it. I think it's interesting. You said, I did what best fit my needs. Because, I mean, all of us, I think, would love to play D1 for a name brand, right? But at some point, you got to realize, for me as a person, what do I need most? Do I need that
Hmm.
recognition, or would I rather go play and get an education or something like that? So I thought it was a great explanation. So
Yeah. I feel like you really, being a kind of, you're still a college recruit, but maybe not a high college and recruit. You learn a lot about all these colleges all across the country, probably, that you've never, like you said, you never even heard of where you're attending now, Colorado College, before they reached
Yeah.
out to you. So I think that's really cool how you probably learned a lot of colleges that you've never heard of before that were in way different parts of where you were, in Springmo.
Right. Right.
Yes, I think that's cool. And, you know, because I kind of the same dreams, I would say, as you growing up. I wanted to play college basketball. And so I always thought like, man, that'd be really exciting. And now that, you're here in college, how would you say it feels to be a college athlete? Do you feel like, does it still feel like just kind of, normal to you, or do you feel like different? Like what do you feel, now that you can say you're a college athlete? Like, how does that make you feel?
Um, Honestly, I don't think it's really like set in yet, to be honest. I think it's because like any kid, I feel like, you have like these goals, and I guess like I just never really thought that I would actually meet the goal. So in the same sense, right now, actually being a college athlete is, I feel like super excited about it. Um, I'm super happy about my decision. But it is still like really unreal to me. Like I just didn't expect me to ever like reach this point, I guess. And even like coming out here still, like it feels like such a big difference from, high school competitive sports, from, AAU competitive sports, because you're not just with pockets of like good teams or with certain okay people and the rest of the people like aren't very good. Like you are with a team of very, like everyone is super talented. And when that kind of set in, that was like a reality check almost, because I'm like, wait, like this is real, like this is a real place. And yeah, that's kind of like my realization so far, I think, with that.
I just wanted to ask a kind of side question to follow that up. I know you've only had a week of classes so far, so you haven't gotten too into the college curriculum yet, but what would you say has
Yeah.
been the biggest adjustment from high school to college being an athlete?
I think it's kind of been the time commitment. I think that back home, I think obviously it was still a big commitment, but it was almost kind of like, I mean, like I would have like, you know, scheduled practices like after school and stuff like that, but it was really only in season. And I mean, like right now I'm not even in season and I'm having to work out 6 days a week with the team. And then plus like I have to get in reps on my own. So I think just putting back more time for it, I think has been the biggest change. Yeah, I think I would say along those lines for sure.
Maddie B.
Yeah, no, those are great questions, and I really like your explanation. I know Charles knows this. I don't know. I think you know it too, but for some reason I ended up dating people who are college athletes. I guess you know, volleyball player, and then one went to Tulsa and did running, and then the other one went to Dixie State and did swimming. And I saw just how much time commitment they did, you know, for all that kind of stuff. And obviously, I've kind of been through them actually all through their kind of freshman year, which is kind of weird. But when it comes to like your school, and this is kind of where I wanted to like maybe not put a plug in for Colorado College, but maybe just for you to explain. I know your parents have told me that you have one class for I think it's 4 weeks, right? But you have 8 classes a year. I don't know. Can you kind of explain that and kind of how either you maybe like it, don't like it compared to the high school traditional college sense of getting, you know, I have my 4 or 5 classes per term, and like how does that work, and how do you like it, not like it, and like how many credits is it? Is it a 3 credit, 2 credit? You know, kind of go through that if that's okay with you.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. So the system that we have at CC, it's called a block plan. I think there's only 3 schools in the country that have a block plan. The school's been around for a very long time, but we've been doing the block plan for 50 years. So it seems like it's been pretty effective. Basically what the block plan is that you take one class at a time for 3.5 weeks. And then you have like a block break, which is like 5 days. And then you also still have like your built-in like Thanksgiving, Christmas break, all that kind of stuff. But it is very different, I would think, from obviously like any other college or high school, because you're not taking one class at a time. I have class from, I mean, most people here have class from 9 to 12, like a typical normal class. But I mean, if you are taking like a STEM class, you could have class from 9 to 12 and then like have a lab later in the day for like from 2 to 3 or something like that. So the classes are very long. It's 3 hours compared to maybe like an hour at college or something like that. It is definitely an adjustment. It's kind of like if you've ever taken like a summer course through college, it kind of almost feels like that, where it's just like a month long. But I think, you know, coming from a private school where I was taking 10 classes at a time and like having to alternate is honestly a super nice adjustment, because I'm not having to think about like, I don't know, like mid practice, like, did I get done my algebra assignment on top of my history assignment? Like, I don't have to think about that. Like, I'm just worrying about like my one like history course that I have right now, which I think for an athlete is something that's super nice, because I mean, obviously like it is a lot of work. So, and you are learning stuff really fast. So like if you do miss a day of class, like you're going to be basically behind like an eighth of the class, like because you learn so fast. But I think it is nice for an athlete to be on something like this, because you can honestly put more time like into your sport, I feel like, and committing yourself to it. Because if you only are doing class for 3 hours a day plus like maybe 2 to 3 hours of homework, like it's honestly really, really nice. And I also feel like too that I'm retaining more information. Like I feel like when I was taking a class, like I would back home, like in high school, like I would be taking 10 classes and I would be taking some of them year round. And I felt like I would be forgetting things really easily, but like on the block plan, like you can't necessarily like forget, like you have to remember it like the whole way through. And I think I'll even keep all the knowledge I've been learning so far, even into like other classes. But so basically we have one block at a time, and then there's 8 blocks a year. We don't have like credit hours or anything like that. So like the whole like 9 credit hours, like that's not even like a thing. We just need like 32 credits to graduate. And typically most blocks are 1 credit. So 8 times 4, that's 32 credits. But you can also take like blocks in the summer, or you can take it over winter break, just because there are 3.5 weeks, which is super nice. And you only have to take 3 blocks each semester to be considered full time. So if you wanted to go, I don't know, backpack in the mountains for like 3.5 weeks, like you could go do that, or do an internship for a month. So it's super flexible. I think that's also why I probably chose UC, is because I really liked the super just flexible schedule of the block. It's honestly really nice. I've been enjoying it a lot so far.
Because this is your second week or first week? It's first week,
This is
right?
this is my first week of class. So basically I'm a third of the way done with my class.
And what class are you in right now?
It's about modernity. It's called Ruins of Modernity. We talk about like, it's like a combination of like history and sociology and poli-sci, I would say. So
oh, sick. Dope.
Yeah,
That's
it's
dope.
been pretty interesting. Yeah.
That certainly sounds like it would benefit a student athlete, that type of
Right.
schedule, definitely, because you have that one class for, as you mentioned, for a couple of weeks that you only have to focus on. So I feel like that's definitely a plus. I've never heard of something like that, but after you just talked about that, seems really smart, honestly.
Yeah.
That would have been
Yeah.
pretty nice.
I feel like because we all have friends who are athletes, right? I feel like they're always busy, right? But I think for me, like whenever I was in high school and even now in college, even when I do intramurals, there's sometimes where I'm in a game or out of practice and I'm like, shoot, did I get this homework assignment done? Like, when was the due date for this? And at that point, it's like, okay, am I more worried about school, or am I more focused on like what I'm doing? And then at that point, sometimes the coach will chew you out like, Breck, what are you doing? Like, what are you thinking about? It's like, well, coach, I'm thinking about my algebra test that is on Friday, but I haven't done the homework for tonight, so you can get into all of that stuff. So I agree with Charles. I think as an athlete, I think that's a great schedule. I'd be interesting to see if like a non-college athlete would like that schedule. I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool. I mean, you just have one class. I mean, for work, it's probably nice too, but I think that's dope. So I thought it was really interesting. So that's kind of why I had to ask to see what your perspective was and kind of all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
All right, I'll swing it back to basketball a little bit. Although, yeah, you explained that was really cool still. I'm curious, who is, or, you can say maybe all time and current, but like, who is your favorite player, basketball player, and who would you say you try and model your game after, you said you were a point guard. So is there any players out there?
And it can be men or women. It can be whatever you want.
Whoever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a couple of favorites in like all realms. Okay, so we grew up in Missouri. So obviously I was a fan of the Thunder growing up. More in their best days right now. Obviously they're in a point of rebuilding, but I think growing up, I like to watch Westbrook a lot. He was very crafty, a very just all around kind of guy. And I don't know necessarily if my game is all around, but I think you could say that I'm not like a one trick pony. At least I would think I'm not. I mean, maybe to other people I am, but like I feel like maybe I'm not. I think from a woman's.
The question is this though: do you have a floater?
I do.
Okay,
so
it may
make an appearance.
Good.
Yeah. I will not be showing out with a triple double every night. But I could try. I probably would never reach it. But yeah, so Westbrook growing up, I went to a couple of Thunder games. I loved going to those, loved watching him play. I also growing up, I loved Maya Moore, played for the Minnesota Lynx. Honestly, I don't know why. I think I was drawn to the Lynx just because like my family lived in Minneapolis for a while. So I was like, oh my gosh, they're like cool. And then I got into her and I thought she was a super awesome player, super awesome person. Also kind of like a point guard. So definitely watched her game a lot. Also, dad went to UVA. So of course I was, right now we're living in a pretty decent era of Virginia basketball besides the loss to UMBC, which we do not speak of.
All I'm saying is the redemption year. That's really what matters.
Right. No,
Yeah.
like that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, they did lose that year, but then they did come back and win the whole thing. But so like I did watch like Ty Jerome and like Kyle Guy, and I like them a lot too. I don't really know if like necessarily my game is modeled off of anyone. I think I definitely get a lot of, oh, and John Stockton too. Love John Stockton. But I think I just pick up on a lot of different people's styles of play, and even like local style of play, just like how girls are playing against me. I may have like stolen a couple of their things that they like to do. And yeah, I think that definitely had an effect. But those are some of my favorite players growing up, probably a little bit more unique than some. It's not like, I don't know, Curry or LeBron. I mean, those guys are obviously really good. I just wasn't super like into them, I guess.
There's one player you're forgetting to mention that Matt and I love. No, I'm just messing with you.
Okay.
It's Steve Nash, though. That's Matt and I's favorite player.
Yeah.
I thought you knew that. I thought you and Maddie B had talked about that before.
No, Ellen knows that.
Oh, so she just forgot.
I did know that. Yeah, I honestly did kind of forget.
It's okay. The Suns franchise has been forgettable for 10 years. So I understand. It's okay.
Yeah.
But not last year. Not last year though. So we're good.
Yeah.
We did that little redemption decade, where we've been bad for so long, and now we're good again. So we're on the way up. So that's good.
Yeah. No, that's great.
So a question I have, sorry, I think we're still good on time. I think hopefully we're still good on time. If you have to go at any time, let us know and we're good to go.
No, I'm fine. This is giving me a break from my paper I'm currently struggling to go through.
So Matt, I just want to say real quick, while she was talking about our favorite players, I didn't know this, not to research this more, but like a Zoom thing popped up and it's like, you've reached your time limit of 40 minutes, but we're going to give you a gift and extend it. And then like the button was like, love it. And I was like, yeah, sweet. So I don't know if it's like an extra guest makes it a time limit. So I'll have to look into that.
Oh, well, it depends. So like for us, like for me, like for BYU, you can, because I'm through the school and you can have unlimited stuff. But hey, we're good.
I'm not in college anymore. I don't know. I'm just using my old account from college and it's still working, I guess.
Yeah. So this might be a loaded question for you. Hopefully it's not, Ella. But when it comes to like team, have you done any team bonding yet? And if so, how do the older members of the team, aka juniors and seniors, treat the freshmen, and how does that work?
Yeah. So I took a visit to CC. I was able to during the summer of last year, obviously with COVID restrictions and everything. Like I didn't go inside anywhere, meet like actually like the team in person, but I was able to like talk with them over Zoom, kind of like this. And like I think from that moment I could tell that they were a really like amazing group of just wonderful women, honestly. And since I've been here now and like actually living that in person, like obviously we've done pickup together, we've hung out with each other a fair amount, and I'm honestly super blown away from just I don't know, just like the amount of like acceptance and like honestly like this feeling of like equality between us, I guess. It's like I feel like they don't, and there is a lot of freshmen. I think a lot of, because of COVID, I think a lot of people are having to make massive teams. So like there's like I think 8 upperclassmen or like 9, and there's like 6 of them are juniors, I think, and there's 12 freshmen. And that's like not the only case. Like I know that's common at a lot of schools this year. But even though there is so many of us and like we are, like the youngest again, all this stuff, like it doesn't feel like that whole like hierarchy thing again. I honestly feel like the same as them. And I think it's just because like they've been, just super honestly so amazing and just being like super nice and super welcoming and encouraging. And I think that's also one of the things that kind of drew me to this team as well, is because I could tell from just watching their games and just from having just one like conversation with them and how they reached out to me just throughout like the recruitment process that, they were just honestly like a really great, genuine group of people. And now that I'm here living that, like I can see that that's true. And yeah, I mean, honestly, like obviously talent wise, like they're obviously like super gifted, and I maybe still kind of feel behind in that sense. Like they the group that I'm with now, like they should have tied for conference last year here, which is huge and a big turnaround for our program. But so yeah, they're a great group of people, honestly, a super amazing group of players. So yeah, I mean, they're great. I love them a lot.
So no hazing, we're good there?
No, oh my gosh, never.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, that would never happen here.
Good.
Yeah, that's
we're
good.
just trying to make sure. We're just trying to make sure part of our owner is taken care of. So we're good. Okay, perfect.
Having a good team just makes it so much better as well. When you have good
Yeah.
teammates, you know, it just makes every process or everything about the process better, you know.
Yeah.
So oh wait, you go.
No, like what you said, like it has been really different. I think like in high school and AAU, like you get a group of people who I think half of them could be into it, maybe all of them could, but like it's never a guarantee. And here, everyone here is like 100% like bought into everything, and they're all, nobody like complains about it, and everyone's like actually like, hey, like let's go put some work in, like anybody want to come? Like it's like it's just a really great environment to be around people who want to get better and who want their teammates to get better too, which is super cool.
I also, because with your team you probably do a lot of workouts, so I'm curious, how tough has the workouts been at the college level, and has it been, would you say, an adjustment for you from high school in terms of the level of like conditioning and all that stuff? I've always heard college athletes have a lot of conditioning, and so I've always been intrigued by that. So I'm curious to see from what your experience has been with that.
Yeah. I mean, truthfully, I don't really know how much I can like actually really talk about it. I mean, like,
okay.
Obviously, like, yeah, I mean, there's like preseason things that like coaches obviously is not there for, like they can't do anything with us until actually our first official practice. But it's more of just like a kind of like go and work out like with the team if you want kind of deal, kind of like optional. But so a lot of it has just been kind of like playing against each other. So I haven't really been able to actually get like a sense of what the basketball workouts look like. But with the intensity that the girls play at, I can tell they will probably be a lot harder. So that is my best answer to that question.
Hill sprints incoming.
Yes, perhaps. I hope not. Maybe mountain sprints here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I think for me, just the last question for me, because I don't want our time to run up and stuff. I know, like you said, you got a paper to write, and I kind of like your mom and dad liking me, and I want you to get good grades. So I probably I'm gonna listen to my heart and say, hey, I love your mom and dad, so I'm gonna let you go write that paper. But I just want to know, how has the altitude affected you? Because I know we're kind of close, similar for Utah and stuff, but so far, have you noticed a difference with that altitude compared to Missouri? And if so, how are you dealing with it?
I mean, I don't know how many feet we're up here. It's obviously thousands of feet more than Springfield, Missouri, or San Antonio. I think when I first came here, there's like a trail like right behind like the fields at our school that runs like 20 miles, super safe and stuff like that. So I went out and ran that like my second day here, and I typically run like 3 to 4 miles, like, at a pretty medium pace. And I think I was dying probably about like, 3/4 of a mile. And like, I don't like, it was honestly a really big adjustment. And like, I don't really know if I necessarily got altitude sickness, but like, I just remember like my first 2 nights in my bed after just like working out, I would have, I don't know, I get like a lot of headaches, and like I feel like really crampy, like in my legs and stuff like that. So like, yeah, I think adjusting to the altitude is something that is very real here. I think it's funny because like in our gym, like it literally says like welcome to like whatever when we're 6,000 feet up. But I think it's honestly like an intimidation factor for like other schools, because like I mean, like I feel like I don't really feel as much indoors, like you definitely do. But it is an adjustment. I think I'm pretty acclimated to it now though. But yeah, when I first got here, it was definitely something. I think I was expecting it. I just didn't expect it to hit me that bad.
Yeah, I've never dealt with altitude, so I'm excited for the first time I do, which might be visiting Matt. So yeah, my last question, I this will be this will get you two involved, but I want to know from both of you, because you guys have seemed pretty good friends, especially when you were in high school and stuff. Matt, what is your guys' you guys can both say this, what's your guys' favorite memory with one another? So whichever one of you wants to go first.
That's a good question.
I know I threw it all against you, Matt.
I'll let Ella take the first question since she's our guest.
You weren't ready for that.
No. Oh my gosh, yeah, this is the question that really caught me off guard.
She can't. There's so many. She just can't pick one.
Yeah, there's so many memories with Matt. Oh my gosh, I just Did you go on that Cooperstown trip? You definitely did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I just have this vivid memory of going to Cooperstown, that big baseball tournament that every kid dreams of going to, I feel like, when they're little. And I just remember going out there, and I think I just remember being out there with you guys, and I almost I don't know, Cooperstown just holds a very big memory to me for some odd reason. I don't even remember how old I was, but
we were Hayden and I were 11 or 12, so you were 10 or 9.
I would have been 8.
8? Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah, 4-year gap.
8, yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of remember going out there. I remember going out there, hanging out with you guys there, and I don't know. I just remember how much fun you guys were having. You guys were going around and meeting all these teams from France or from Hawaii, and you guys thought it was super cool. And then somebody lost the keys to the van or something like that, and everybody was freaking out, and it ended up being under some blankets in the room. I remember that. I also just remember I remember going to your guys' Eagle Scout ceremony thing. I don't know why I remember that. I don't know. I feel we have a lot of good memories, and a lot of them are from when I was so young. It's where do I even remember what happened? I guess I don't know. I also remember my brother's graduation party and talking to you guys there. Or there's this shared joke of how my dad has a list of people who he would like me to marry, who's basically his son's closest friends, or not his son, who is his closest friend's sons. And I just remember there was a conversation about that, and you had almost put yourself on the list, but in a jokingly way.
That's funny.
And I don't think Stan seemed very opposed to be honest, but it was funny because Hayden was what the heck? It was very funny.
No, that's awesome.
No, I remember that. Yeah, no, I think it was either me, I put myself on that list, or your dad put me on that list.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then Hayden's bro, but you're my friend. I'm well, if your dad wants, if your dad likes me, I don't really care. But no, I remember that. I think for me though, I think the things I remember most is whenever Hayden and I would come over to your, or not Hayden and I would come over to your house, and we would play either the Wii or Xbox together and do some of that kind of stuff together. So that's probably what I remember most. And then I think graduation, because that's when I left for my mission after that. And so I think just coming over, talking about sports and doing things, that'd be great. But there is one thing that we do need to do, and we never did it, but it was our one-on-one that we had to do, because you had the basketball court in the backyard. So at some point, I'm going to cash that in, and you'll probably will wax the floor with me. But the question is this: do we use a women's ball or a men's ball? It's up to you.
I would preferably use a women's ball, but I've had people here, and they're "Can we go play a game of one-on-one?" And I'm no. I don't know. One-on-one intimidates me, even if I feel maybe I have a chance of winning. I'm just I
can intimidate you more, and I can film it for you guys.
Okay.
Well, we'll do it behind closed doors. We'll use the women's ball, and I'm going to cash it in at some point. So just be prepared for that.
Okay. I will.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me.
Perfect.
I will be waiting.
Well, it sounds good. I'll definitely text you about that. But we appreciate you for coming on and being our first guest. Yeah, everyone that wants to follow Ella, we'll have her Instagram and stuff in our posts and everything. And I believe you start your season in November, correct?
Yeah, we have like I think we start like October 25th is like game, maybe scrimmage, something like that. So yeah, end of October, early November, extends all the way out to probably hopefully mid-March for the NCAA tournament. So that's super exciting.
Yeah. So anyone who wants to go follow Ella, we'll have her Instagram linked in there. Anyone who wants to watch or follow her basketball journey, aka awesomeness, do that too. Colorado College. I know I'm excited to watch you play this year. I know I might, who knows, I might even come out and see one of the games. Hopefully, that's one of my goals. It's one of my goals. But
You're
try to do that. So
I was gonna say, Matt, you might be coming to Springfield.
oh, hey, well, yeah, we can talk about the Missouri State BYU game later. But right now, yeah, so might come out and do that in Springfield, but also might see Ella out in Colorado. But we just have to thank you once again for taking time out of your day to do this. It means a lot to us, and hopefully our listeners enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you so much, Ella. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much about anything.
No problem. Anytime later on, let's say January, February, you're in season and you want to talk with us, let us know and we will have a spot waiting for you. So don't worry.
Yeah.
I might reach out to you again and say, hey, how's in season? So
well, since we reached out to you first, you got to reach out to us for the next one.
Now, I guess
I'm just kidding.
Anytime you want to ramble with the two, just guys who are just want to talk basketball, let us know. Right. We're here for you.
Yeah, I know where to go. Yeah,
for sure. Exactly. All right. Have a good rest of your day and good luck this year.
Thanks, Ella.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.